What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Tuesday, February 15th. So here's what's happening today. Right now, we're getting a lot of reports that Russia is potentially pulling back some of their troops. That's good news for the stock market. That's making somewhat, a little more certainty within our government. Things are looking a little bit better. Now, are things great? Absolutely not. But we're getting closer to somewhat more of a normal life. Now, here's what I want to address today. Many Democrats are still pushing for President Biden's Build Back Better Act. But at the same time, what we are starting to see is we're starting to see a shift from that major social safety net bill over to more of a post-pandemic mid-inflation style bill. So we're starting to see, and just to kind of sum that up, we're starting to see a shift from let's get out of the pandemic, let's get life with COVID, and let's have life with inflation. So we could potentially start seeing bills that are going to be impacting the American people, but hopefully without increasing inflation. So again, what that looks like, well, we'll have to wait and see. But here's what we know. Every single Democrat was initially for the $2 trillion social spending bill. Every single one. It was only when the bill approached that $3.5 trillion mark that Democrats started to come out against it. And then after we started to see that inflection point in inflation, this was around, I believe, April to May 2021, that's when some moderates, and mainly Senator Joe Manchin, made his concerns very public. This is when inflation was down at like 4%. Then it started to come up a little bit, then up a little bit more, and then we saw it jump. I believe it was like June or July. So what we're seeing right now is those concerns were valid at that point. So what we're seeing now is Democrats still say that a social safety net bill is fiscally responsible. They say that it benefits both individuals and our collective society. Now, economists also believe that providing anti-poverty and cash assistance programs are linked to increased labor participation in our workforce. They also say that investing into childcare will improve the broader economy in which the children are raised in. More reports also state that canceling student debt would add roughly 1.5 million jobs, and it would lift 5 million Americans out of poverty. And Democrats believe that canceling student debt is needed to slow the widening racial gap. Now, here's what I find is very interesting. And I was reading a bunch of reports on this just this morning. By canceling student debt, this would actually not, this would cause the racial wealth gap to widen even further. And it's because reports indicate that more than 55% of student debt is held by white and Caucasian borrowers. And roughly 45% of black graduates say their net worth is less than what they owe in student debt. So the reports are indicating how would this actually prevent us from widening the racial wealth gap? The reports indicate that no, this doesn't, because this is really going to benefit those that are more well off, because people that usually are in lower income households tend to not go to college, and that creates a little bit of an issue. So does this really benefit us? Some reports say yes, but most say no. But that's exactly what many Democratic lawmakers are pushing for, is student debt forgiveness. Remember, we only have a little bit longer. We only have a little bit longer until students have to start paying back this debt. So we'll see what happens. But by providing anti-poverty and cash assistance programs, again, what we're seeing is this would truly benefit those that are in need. But would it? Some say the answer is yes, but for how long? That's the issue. How long will these new programs go? And how will these be paid for? These are the questions in which Democrats don't have answers to. And it's because of this that many are struggling to find more support for their agenda, because they don't have the answers to the questions that people are asking. Again, how long would the lower income households really be impacted by cash assistance programs? It depends on how long the program goes for. But if it goes for, let's say, a year, let's say it's a child tax credit payment, right? An anti-poverty measure. How long would this go for? 1 year? Okay. Well, who's going to pay for it? Well, we don't know. Well, let us know when you know. That's the problem. And this is why I've been a firm believer, and I've told you guys this multiple times over the past probably 6 months, is that if you need additional assistance, don't count on the federal government. You have to look a little closer, a little more local. This means your city, your county, or the state that you live in. Those are going to be the ones that provide the assistance that we need moving forward. The federal government came in, they helped initially. Then they gave $350 billion to states. Well, that $350 billion in most cases is still sitting there. So at the same time you need assistance, those are the places you need to look, because the states are the ones that have the money right now. The federal government, they're just being pretty much whipped because of where inflation is currently at. So we'll see what happens there. But on the same note, this morning, and I told you about this report last week, this morning we started to see reports that the White House is eyeing the Congressional House Democrats' bill to provide a federal gas holiday. This is a federal gas tax holiday. Now, this would actually be implemented for the remainder of 2022, and this would actually save drivers 18 cents per gallon on gas. Now, right now, Democrats say that until they can get more support for the Build Back Better Act and for their social safety net programs, this is the best time to get anything done. Pollsters actually believe that Democrats are going to try and get this done because right now they don't have many options. This is their option. This is their choice. Pollsters also believe that without even the smallest win, Democrats will get hammered during the upcoming midterm elections. So, the White House signaled that all options are on the table. What we do know is gas prices are continuing to rise. A small decrease of just 18 cents a gallon, it would be helpful, but it's not going to, really change your life dramatically. But by passing this, it wouldn't just cause your driving to cost less, it would also slowly bring down the price of products due to shipping costs. And right now, with inflation sitting at 7.5%, some say more assistance is needed, and if this is all we can get, they will take it. But here's where things get even more interesting. Could we be looking at a new type of stimulus package? Many say yes. Many say it's needed. Nancy Pelosi stated like 3 weeks ago that the Build Back Better Act needs a name change. That can't be the thing that we go forward with. Could we see stimulus in an economy that is stuck with high inflation? Some say yes. Some say it will be needed, but the middle income and the upper income households will likely be the ones paying for it. So if you are making, let's say President Biden says anybody making over $400,000 per year. However, that's up there. That's seriously up there. So that's even giving lower income and middle income households more benefits. But that's really up there, and providing something like that could be very difficult. I know Kyrsten Sinema is not going to go for much, so we'll see what happens there. But could we see something? The answer is yes. Some believe that the Build Back Better Act will completely change to something that is better suited for the American people and, wait for it, our current economy. That's the difference. And this is where a lot of lawmakers stated this before, and many Republicans have been talking about this for the past year, is we can't continue to run on, hey, let's give more stimulus checks and more unemployment and more pandemic assistance because the pandemic is almost over. That's what they're saying. So if the pandemic is almost over, then we have to completely change the narrative of this bill. And that's somewhat what lawmakers or Democrats are trying to do. Now, whether we see in, what was it, the Nancy Pelosi called the bill the deficit reduction bill just the other day, so we're going to see a name change. We're going to see a different, different policies, provisions within the bill. So as they come out, I promise I will fill you in on those updates as we get them. But here's something else I thought was very interesting regarding inflation. According to the Chicago Fed, they are saying that in a recent study that they conducted, that when people switch jobs, it actually pushes U.S. inflation even higher. And the reason for this is because people normally leave their job for a higher salary. And people, when a worker gets paid more, the products and services that the company sells usually increase in price as well. So as people get paid more, the products cost more. And when products cost more, the people ask for more money because, well, the products are costing more money. So when they get paid more, that means all the other products have to go up as well. And this is what, again, the wage price spiral. This is something that I addressed, I believe it was either this weekend or later last week. Okay, go and check out some of those videos, because what we are seeing is that this is contributing to higher inflation. When people get paid more, products cost more. Then people get paid more, products cost more, and it just keeps going up and up and up. And eventually, it has to stop. It has to stop. But we'll see when it actually does. And in other news, more international news, Russia says this morning that they have begun to pull back troops from the Ukraine border. Now, NATO is still urging caution as they try to confirm this statement. Ukraine says that no, you cannot trust everything that Russia says, but Russia is still planning on conducting training exercises as well, I believe next to the border of Belarus. So we will see what happens there. The stock market this morning was absolutely loving it. So we will see if this is true. Russia's pulling back, but some are still worried because Russia is still planning on conducting these training exercises until February 20th. So we still have an additional 5 days there. But as we get any more information on what's going on there, what's happening, and what we should expect here in the United States, I promise I will fill you in on those updates as soon as we get them. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.